me start by saying hi to everyone on board. It's a pleasure to be on again, in spite of the restrictions here. My first comment and question will be about the new sound. Yeah, Duane, I remember when I met you and I was introduced to the new sound. I had been in contact with one guy online who is called Jonathan Goldman, and he had written a book on healing sounds. He talked about the R, the the hue, the hum, and other sounds. And so I wrote back to him and I told him that his compendium of sounds was incomplete without the new sound. So he wrote back telling me that yes, he knows about the new sound, that it is some kind of, he did not put it there intentionally because it's got only by what he called adepts in the deep meditational state, and that it seems not to be for everyone, and so he could not bring it out to the open like that because it was got in that personal deep state by those who are capable of getting to that level, which indicates some level of commitment and attention and focus. And so I told him about you and the new sound. I even gave him your own what I even told you what he said, and it would appear that his decision not to bring out this sound to the open is in line with what the masters think, that people should reach certain levels before certain things are revealed to them. But here we are in the new presentation with the new sound for everyone. And I remember when Sandy came on board, she said she got the new sound on the rear side as a kind of, and she thought it was a secret word. So Duane, I want to ask you, do you think that given this sound indiscriminately is appropriate? And because I found a new sound, in fact, I will not detail here how powerful it is, the kind of things it does to me at times when I sing it. In fact, it's something I would really like to be a bit harsh about. So what do you say, Duane?
Okay, hello, Charles. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, you're coming in very well. How Kosei's hooked this up. That's great. Now, you're very clear this time. We've went through a lot, and the world's going through a lot. Well, yes, in the personal sense, basically everything you've said kind of makes sense. But realistically, and the idea is that again, the new you. This is the terms that we use. Oh, it is so powerful. It is so this or that. But actually, it's just very real. Is what it is, because it's a real connection to the real universes. Now, going back a little bit, I'm going to kind of do a broad spectrum here of answering this question, and that is that when Paul presented what he did, he presented things for that time, and he used the God Worlds chart, showing the so-called different levels of things. And that's what it was at that time. In other words, he was setting up for the personal self the ideas that there's something more than just the old God idea into the third or fourth heaven, or basically the idea is that if you're a believer in a God, a deity or whatever, that you'll go to some heaven after you die, or after you leave here, after you pass on. Well, okay, so we went through those stages. We all went through those stages for that time, and that's left in those time frames. Now, because of what is taking place in the world, because you might say it's a do or die situation. In other words, there's a window here that will only be here so long because of, again, the agreements that people make. In other words, in the personal sense, for the most part, we can only keep our attention. Most people can only keep their attention on something so long, and then they go to something else, don't they? Yes, they come and go. And just like when we were in the corporation, people came for a while, some stuck around, and then some of them left, or a lot of them left. Whatever, they come and go. But the new you is direct with the real universes. This is why I kept it simple, because it's everything. And it's not a matter that it's to be hidden or whatever. No, it's time to do this simply because it's giving people a chance like never before. And even though they're not ready, they still have the chance to get ready. And the boys, again, it's like a person that's going to parachute for the first time from a military plane. Okay, so they don't have the experience, but the plane is going down, and you're just gonna have to do it, or you don't, or you go down with the plane. So that's the reality of it. Again, it is far too real. This is why most people can't see it, and even when you start, it's even a lot more than you can even consider, because this is how it is now. This is what I see. This is what I've decided, and it's through that. Okay, and it's just like when Paul was here, he decided things accordingly. He knew what to do. Paul didn't even really go on the radio or TV too much. He just did what he did. He started a position there. And again, he was the babysitter. He was babying people along. Well, now it's getting real. Just like the fires of the world, the chemtrails, and everything else that's going on, it's a very real situation. So it's not a matter of personal attitude. So this fellow that you talk to, yes, you can give him the new, but does he recognize it? So it's not a matter of, tradition like he's used to, where the and the Amen and these other things, Hare Krishna, what have you, have been around a long time. So people have, they've literally interpreted what these things are for themselves. Well, from what he can see, from his experience, he's thinking, oh, this is like a deep meditative state. Well, it's not that. It's an isness that's all alive, real, but you have to recognize that this is the difference. It's not a category placed in a literal sense. So all those things that apply that we've gone through simply equal what is taking place in creation. And the new you is this unknown reality that is the true reality that's finally brought forth because of how I see it and how the boys and life itself is backing. So, and again, how can we prove this? And each individual this is where you become the real risk taker beyond what the mind knows. So the deep meditative state, that's actually the deep dark border is what that is. That's the nirvana that's talking about the void, whatever. And this is where, again, those that do such things, meditation or out of the body movements or what have you, from here to there, this is all they see, because the next step is recognition. And yes, you must recognize a real purpose. You must recognize your intent. There's a whole lot of things that go with it that is not, you might say, is not taught or available. Yes. So uh, it's my experience with this is very interesting, because there was basically no one else that would do it like I've done it or could see it, etc. And it was a hell and high water for me to bring this out and figure it out too. I could see the is in my own way at the time in 2001 to do it, but I felt very restricted. And as time went on, I went through so much to really figure this out and present this to the world. And yes, it is a lot. But on the other side of the coin, look at what is taking place in the world. And because the world is doing what it's doing, in other words, the world controllers, and destroying the earth rapidly, is because they see us on the real side and they don't like it. And that's why it's all occurring. That's why they're using everything they can to just, bombard people, mind control them, etc. I get Skypes or little chats from people questioning this or that. Well, I can't convince people of anything. They're just going to have to make sense of it. What makes sense? We are simply presenting the isness here and the new you, like you're saying for yourself. You see how workable it is, how real it is, but not everybody's going to see that. No, I see that. And just like Kevin's experience that he explained last week in the Zoom here about going through the process, and he was on the ship as a little robot guy and having fun, and I was the captain there and going through things. Well, at a certain point, yeah, confronting the world wholeheartedly, more so than we're doing now. Well, most of the world is going to stay stuck with what it does. That's just very real. But we're setting up a bigger picture here, getting ready for something much bigger and better. But you got to be ready. You have to prepare yourself to see it. And so, yes, the new you is more than power and creation. It's not that. It's actually the opposite. It's an isness to be recognized. And this is the best part of it, because it's everything. And then, but then again, as I've said many times before, most people's personal self is more important, so they're not going to see it. It's something that you can't see, but you must learn to see, or you don't see it. And it's more real than anything here. So anyhow, Charles, yes, according to the fella that you talked to, does he have experience with this, etc.? No, you're talking at from a literal position is what you're doing. You see, so there makes a difference. So again, you be the risk taker or not, and most of the world is saying no. The new you is nothing, especially the corporation members or whatever. And because they won't touch it, they have no experience with it, but all of a sudden they're the authorities with it. Those people having experiences on the real side, especially with Paul and Rebazar, etc. You decide your verification no matter what's told to you or whatever, just like Sandy stepped up. And now we're doing other things on a much bigger scale because she sees it. And again, it doesn't matter what experiences a person has, they still decide from those experiences what to do with their life, and especially what their intent is. Very important to recognize your intent and how you place that and how you decide your life with it.